Welcome to the podcast, How We Heal, Candid Conversations with Conservatives. My name is Bob Shands, president of Conservatives versus Racism Incorporated. This episode is a second interview with Eustine Choto. Eustine has experienced a big moment in her life and wants to share information about the experience and the process that was involved. Eustine is a digital creator and has 13,000 followers on Facebook. She is known and loved for her openness and lack of pretension. I hope you enjoy. I'm here tonight with Eustine Choto. Eustine is a prior guest on my podcast. I first interviewed Eustine back in October of 2022. How are you tonight, Eustine?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Bob?
I'm doing great. It's a Friday night.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations. You have had a big event in your life recently. Tell me about it.
So, um, December 7th of 2023, I was way overdue to get my citizenship, so I decided to apply, and I got my citizenship. I am now an American.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
And you got that in the last week or 10 days?
What was that?
You received your citizenship. Respect the law, and I respect you doing it legally as well.
Amen. Amen. Work for it, man. It pays off so much more when you work hard for it. Congratulated us for doing this legally because illegally,
I've been in this
you
country
cannot
since I
become a
was
citizen
10.
because they will ask you
So
certain
I've
questions.
always been
And
I
they
moved
do
here June,
really
I
respect
think it was like
people
June
who obey the
21st of
law.
2000. So they're
Mhm.
very big on that.
I was 10
And
years old.
just knowing
So
I
when
did it
I went to
legally, it was
school,
amazing.
I was very proud. I had a great teacher who knew I came here legally. She worked very closely with my father. I didn't speak English, but it was always my goal to learn how to speak English. So this woman would work with me all the time on English. You know, we would do very simple stuff, but she knew I was way advanced because I was like mathematically and everything. I was way advanced, but I didn't know the language. Um, so she just took pride in taking me under her wing and helping me out and, getting me to the point where I could speak English. I was actually in ESL up until ninth grade. I mean, no, it was, yeah, ninth grade, learning how to speak English. And, it's been such a joy. It's been a ride, but it's been such a joy. When you move to other countries, you just embrace that culture, you embrace everything about that country, and you just start loving it. But a year after I moved here, September 11th happened, and I was in the sixth grade now. And it broke my heart. It really did, because I was like, why are people doing this to this beautiful country? And I think I kind of became a patriot then, because I was like, why are they attacking us? Like at that point, I was ready to like fight for the country, even though I was a little girl and I was only 11. I was, no, actually, I was only 10 still, because that was September 11th, and I didn't turn 11 until, the 14th of September.
Mm.
And I just didn't understand why it was happening to this great nation. I met so much great people. They were so good to me. And I remember I had a crush on this Caucasian kid named Will Robinson. And his mother came up to me and she was like, "How are you feeling about the country?" and stuff like that. "You're just so cute," and she would talk to my dad all the time. And for a long time, I suffered PTSD and anxiety because I don't like war. I don't like violence.
Right.
So anytime a plane flew up above us, I would be so scared. But I made it through, and now I'm a citizen, and it's just a wonderful thing. Yeah, and people always ask me, why are you attracted to Caucasians? And I really don't know how to explain it. I've seen, see, sometimes I lash out on my Facebook because I'm human. I was actually listening to a podcast today where they said social media has made it so uncomfortable for people to lash out and to speak about how they feel because people say, oh, you're telling your business. So why is it okay for me to tell my business when I tell you guys, oh my God, I went to Cancun and I had the best time and I was living the dream. But when you tell your business when you're struggling, people have a problem with that.
Yeah.
It's so fake because not everybody's having a good day every day. That's why I let my followers see me through the ups, the downs, the outrageous stuff, everything, good or bad. I let people see me through it. And she was saying, you're a human. You're not a robot. You can't be perfect all the time. You can tell your business these days as long as sorry, I'm running water, but you can tell your business these days as long as it's good. But if it's bad, people jump all over you. Oh, you shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be doing that. And this goes for conservatives as well. When somebody posts their issue, it's not up to you to say whether or not they should be posted or not. Just show support or don't.
When we talked about doing this follow-up podcast, you said that you had learned some things about people who, I think
Yes,
you said people who don't do it legally, and you want to
yes,
share what you had learned about that. So,
yes. I really wanted to have this podcast with you, Bob, because number one, I'm going to have everybody test it out for themselves. So, my situation. My husband up and abandoned me after I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 7 years,
right?
and he took my children. So after that, I was trying to get close to these children, right? Which I'm still going to do. So every time I go on Facebook Marketplace, I saw something very concerning to me. So every time I would go on there, there'll be Hispanics speaking in in their language, and they would only rent to their people.
Mm.
And it would say, you can rent one room because you'll be sharing with like five other guys and stuff like that, right? So these people are getting together, they're buying houses and only renting them to their people. Because I can guarantee if you're white, if you're black, if you're anything other than what they are, they will not rent that place to you. Because I inquired and I can show you proof. I inquired on so many. So I put it to a test. I started having other people inquire on them. They don't write you back. So now my next test is going to be if a Hispanic writes, will they reply? And this is all over Facebook.
I don't think you know about me that I was a human relations commissioner for my city here, which is Olathe, Kansas. And what they're doing is against the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
It is.
Yes.
And you know what else I found out?
What's that?
Long ago, when I first met my husband, he used to run a mobile home community. And these people wouldn't even have real social security numbers. They just have EIN numbers. And they'd buy up all the mobile communities. And Lord knows how they got this money because they only worked at factories. And they buy them all up and then rent them out to their people. So when my husband found out about it and he said something to the people who owned that community, they fired him. Yeah, he was doing that on the side, aside from his regular job.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nothing but people who didn't have, any documentation. They would just present an EIN number, and greedy people who wanted money would let them buy the property and then rent it out to somebody else. And most of those homes had like 3 people. I remember we started getting very close to the people next door.
Mhm.
They had 7 kids sleeping in one room, and the adults slept in the other rooms. And this is a 3-bedroom with like 15, 16 people in it. Now, if an American does that, that's illegal, right? Because right now, if I apply for an apartment, I have to disclose how many people are going to be in it. And it becomes like a health risk or something.
I think it does.
Because you have to have so many rooms for so many people, right?
I'm not versed on that, but I think you're right.
Yeah. So this is what these people are doing. And I hate to say this, but they are dominating this industry.
Mm.
Because if you come from a different country and you're desperate and you're working illegally, you're going to go and rent one of those miserable places where you're living with 5 to 6 people in a room.
Well, if they're only willing to rent to their own ethnicity, you can report
That's
that.
even illegal. That's discrimination.
Yes, that is illegal.
But I will show you proof where I have inquired about these places on purpose, and there's been no reply. Just because I know they're working together.
Yeah, you're
How are these illegals? Like yesterday, I was at I was buying my kids shoes. This woman didn't speak English at all. She spoke Spanish, and there was a Spanish worker working, and they were speaking in Spanish. But this woman had to have had like $20,000 in her hands.
wow.
She was just whipping out hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I mean, she had like 10 shoes, a bunch of duplicate clothes in different sizes and all types of stuff. This is the country that we're supposed to be living in. Why aren't we abiding by the rules? How does an illegal with no English speaking skills at all, how do they gain $20,000 in their hands? I don't even have that, and I work a 9 to 5.
Well, it's we have an administration that wants to flood the country, unfortunately. But I would recommend if you get turned down, or if they won't call you back, and you believe it's because of ethnicity, I would encourage you to contact your city or state Human Relations Commission.
They're not going to do anything because they're making money. That's what I've learned in this life. It's not about what you're doing. It's not about anything. As long as you're making money off of it, that's all that matters. They will ignore you and ignore you and ignore you because the city and the government is making money off of it.
Mm.
So
I would still encourage you to report it to the Human Relations Commission, because if you're in a non-Democrat Party area, though, I guess.
This city that's why I want to leave Nebraska. It's getting more liberal by the second. More liberal by the second. And people call it hustling, but it's not hustling. It's cheating other people out of something that they rightfully own or could own with you doing shady business.
Well, one of the things that I've always felt differentiates conservatives is that my opinion is that they're motivated by doing things right and telling the truth.
Yeah.
At least that's my hope. I know that's my motivation. Well, hey,
If I
go ahead.
started renting houses or buying houses and I just only rented to my conservative friends, it would be it'd be the only story we see.
Yeah, well,
It would be like,
unfortunately, um, political affiliation is not a protected class, but race and religion and color, national origin, familial status, those things are the protected classes. But I guess it would be okay if they didn't want to rent to a conservative, because that's not a protected class.
yeah, see, um, and I believe what they're doing is going on my page and seeing I'm a conservative and then just not replying back, which is what my story that I told you earlier was about.
Yeah, about your boss.
Yeah, other people can get away with it, but you can't because you're conservative. It's like you have to be breaking the rules and breaking the law in order to get ahead.
Well, it's unfortunate to feel that way, but does seem to be the case sometimes.
Yeah, so I really want to bring light to that. Many people don't know about it, but I suggest everybody goes to their Facebook marketplace and they look for themselves and see what's happening in their cities. They can even look in the Nebraska area or whatever I'm talking about, or I can even send the links and people can look for themselves. But we're in a crisis right now. Like, I don't really like to tell people really personal things about myself, but that's what makes me human. My daughter has been getting suspended from school for smoking weed and doing that. I told her today about my coworker. They know somebody who lost their kid to just smoking weed. It was laced with fentanyl.
Mm.
And how long do we lose our children? How long do we lose everything we stand for? We already lost so many factory jobs. We've already lost so much. People keep saying, oh, it's Amazon. No, it's Temu and Shein. Amazon is too pricey. People are buying everything on Temu and Shein. I tested it for myself. I ask everybody, where do you buy your stuff from? They always tell me Temu or Shein. So we're continuing to lose our business to China. We're continuing to make them rich. Meanwhile, we're going broke and we're losing jobs. What sense are we making? There's a Chinese company. It was on the news. It can be fact checked it if they want to, but it's the truth. I was watching it on the news. There's a Chinese company that's doing a newer version of a Tesla, but it's way cheaper than what that guy, what's his name?
Elon Musk.
Um, yes, him. It's like triple the price cheaper than what he sells them for. They
Yeah.
said America needs to let them sell it because Tesla is just too expensive. So I'm wondering, how are they making things so cheap? And I'm guilty. I shop on Temu and Shein because it's too expensive to shop in the United States.
Trump put um, tariffs on Chinese goods to make them more expensive, so they're dumping products here. They're subsidizing the manufacturers over there, and they're paying their employees almost nothing.
Yeah, they get paid pennies, but it's cheaper and it's making their country richer.
Yeah. And of course, this is just a personal opinion on my part, but I think we have a president who he seems to have some,
Influenced by China,
there you
let's just
go.
say.
He is economically influenced by China. Thank you.
See, I'm just going to say it like this. When I grew up in Zimbabwe, we had lights, gas. Like people at my school used to think I was rich. But it was just that my grandfather was a professor at a college, and my grandmother was a hustler. She used to sell stuff off of her yard, like greens, tomatoes, avocados. We planted everything. And we had a garden, boy. I lived a very good financial childhood.
Hmm.
I will say that. I never needed for anything. I never went hungry. But a president came in who had hate for white people, started killing them. And you know what? That country tanked in less than 5 years of me coming to America. That country died. And now it's a third world country. It went from one of the best countries in Africa to live in or even touch. It was so like popular. People wanted to come there and get educated because Zimbabwe has very smart and beautiful people all together. And it went to nothing in less than 20 years. I want people to vote correctly, please, because I don't want to keep moving countries and gaining citizenship in other countries because people don't know how to run their stuff. I felt so blessed. Like my aunt came from Africa last year. I went to go pick her up. I've never seen her look like that. She was so traumatized. She said, I don't care if they give me a free ticket. I'm not going back. So it's either you want the America we all love or you want communism and all types of stuff. We cannot be celebrating mental health issues, like all these people identifying as the weather and cats. People are glorifying Satanism. And you know what? In the end, God wins. But I don't want to live through hell while we wait for God because nobody knows the time or the day. I don't want to live that way.
This is a very important election coming up,
Man, it's the most important election that we have ever had in our lifetimes.
right? Do you remember
Vote
the name of that
red.
president in Zimbabwe?
Robert Mugabe.
I've heard that name. I'm going to do a little research on him.
Oh, he's evil. Get ready.
Is he still there?
He's dead now. They ran him out of the country and put another evil, a worse person in office.
Uh, well, everybody keeps talking about what's going on with the four trials against Trump as we're a banana republic now, third world country.
Man, listen. All I have to tell people is go to Zimbabwe and see if you like it. If you don't, bring your ass here. And I'm sorry for cursing. And vote right.
That is a great ending line. I appreciate your time tonight. I really am so thrilled for you in getting your citizenship.
Thank you.
I, the pride that you have in America just it just radiated the day that you obtained that citizenship. And as a friend, I'm just so proud of you. And
Thank you.
um, you're a blessing to America. You're a blessed addition to America, in my personal opinion.